So the other outputs are the project funding requirements. The funding requirements, again, they are periodically done, not just done at the start of the project or just before the end of the project. They are done like monthly or quarterly. Lastly, the project documents updates. This is also an important output. What happens here is we have cost estimates updated, project schedule updated, risk register updated, lessons learned updated. All these things are updated here. Let's move to the inputs. Okay, the project management plan, of course. And again, what components can we use as inputs? The cost management plan, the resource management plan, scope baseline. All these things act as inputs to arrive at these outputs. Project documents, again, the cost estimates, the project schedule, basis of estimates, not just the cost estimates, basis also is considered. So moving on to the business documents, we can use business case as an important input. Benefits management plan, that is a document that can also be used as inputs. Finally, the agreements, memorandum, MOUs, LOI, NDA, memorandum of understanding, letter of intent, and non-disclosure agreement. These three are very important agreements that we must use to determine the budget. And of course, EEF and OPA, enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets, act as very important inputs. Let's see what we have for the tools. Expert judgment. Again, what kind of expert are we going to consult here? Anybody who knows, not anybody, the person who knows the financial principles is usually consulted. The person who knows the funding requirements, the resources where we can get the funds. We know that there are banks, right? But to get a huge amount of money required for organization, we need to know genuine sources who can help us with the bank loan. So they are consulted here. Cost aggregation, what is it? Same, bottom up, we have learned. So I'll not use my exceptional drawing skills again. So cost aggregation is similar to bottom up. The cost that is gathered from work breakdown structure to complete at the topmost project level, that is the cost aggregation. And data analysis techniques, what technique can we use here? We can use reserve analysis, the reserve that I just explained in the previous whiteboard slide. So that reserve analysis is done. And historical information review, this is new term of the day. What happens here is the project characteristics, they're reviewed, and mathematical models are developed to predict the total project cost. So with the history that we have, what we are going to spend. Funding limit reconciliation, again a new term. What does reconciliation mean? It's nothing but comparison of plan versus actual. So expenditure, what happens here is that expenditure is verified whether it is matching with the limit of the committed fund approval. And then we have financing. We means most of the organizations go for financing. They don't use the company reserves, be it a very reputed organization, be it as big as it can be, it will still go for financing. So that is also an important tools and techniques. Okay, that completes our third process. So let's move to the final and the most important process, controlling of the costs. What outputs should we achieve to control the costs? Of course, the work performance information, we have learned what this is before. Cost forecasts are done, like how much cost we are going to spend after 1 month, after first quarter or second quarter. All these forecasts are done. And the change requests is an important output. We get to update all the change requests as an output for this control. And project management plan updates. What plans do we get to update here? The cost management plan, the cost is baselined usually after this. And then the performance measurement baseline, all these things are updated. And when we talk about the project document, we get to update, that is, the cost estimate document can be updated, risk register can be updated, lessons learned can be updated. So all these documents are updated after the controlling of the cost process is done. So to achieve these targets, what do we have as inputs? Again, the repeated project management plan. Again, in this, do we need to use all the components in the project management plan? No, not necessary. We can just make use of a cost management plan, for example, and the baseline of the cost or the approved costs. And the performance measurement baseline can be used as an important input within the project management plan. And project documents, we can make use of all documents that we mentioned as outputs here, just the non-updated versions, like lessons learned register, risk register, etc. Project funding requirements, I think we covered this in the previous process. Work performance data is also understood, like which resource is working and spending how much all these work performance data acts as an input, and finally the organizational process assets, also an important thing. So now let us focus on the tools and techniques that are necessary. Expert judgment, right? So here, expert who is well versed with the variance analysis, the EVM or the earned value analysis, EVM, EVA, forecasting, financial analysis, they are consulted here. So here we are to the data analysis. Now to explain this portion better, I have to again use the whiteboard. So we have three main types of analysis, right? So I will teach you what these are one by one. First thing is earned value analysis. So again, this has three key dimensions. First thing is planned value, and second thing is earned value, and finally we have actual cost, right? So earned value analysis is an important tool that is learn about what these things are, what these components are, with the help of a S curve again. So allow me a quick time. We have time again. You have to memorize this chart by heart. We have the cost. I'm calling it C here, and then we have a beautiful S curve, and here we have the BAC that we learned, and then budgeted actual cost here, and then this. What is this? This is the reserve that we talked about. Okay, so what happens here is the actual costs start moving above the budgeted cost. So, and the value that we learned in the very first slide is also lesser than the budgeted value. This is typically the case with every organization. So if we draw a line vertically, again, let me quickly name this. This is called the actual cost line, and this is called the earned value line, right? So, and this is the planned value line, right? So what happens here is actual cost is here in this line, and this is the budgeted line. So if we project this line, it doesn't match with the budgeted line, right? So it goes above and beyond, and then finally it reaches a point above the budget. So that is called earned actual cost.